Okay, so once again, we are here together for the Sunday Sutta class, and we have taken up Karaniyametta Sutta, or the Loving Kindness Sutta, or Mettasutta in English, as our main topic. And based on that, we have been discussing various suttas to go through the different qualities that I mentioned at the beginning of the Mettasutta. At the beginning, Mettasutta describes about 14 different qualities to be as a prerequisites to start metta meditation. And I have been doing it really slowly, taking up one quality at a time and going deeper. And also, we always started this session by reciting the Mettasutta in English. And it is nice that when we recite something that we understand the meaning and see the effect of it as we chant when we understand what we are chanting. So I will do the chanting and then we will continue the discussion. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any beings in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Okay, so last week we did the Santusako, contented and easily satisfied that quality. And today, the next quality that is there is Subarocha. Yeah, so easy to support. So this is quite an important and important quality, especially for the monastics, but also for anybody, right? Because it is with these things that we get carried away with life when we want so much. I often talk about in Dhamma talks, know your needs and know your wants. There's a difference between your needs and wants. Yeah, so one's needs, what are the needs? Once we have a body, when we have a body, we need to take care of it, otherwise it's going to die, right? So it needs some supports. These are our basic needs to exist and exist quite happily and peacefully. And what are they? So there's food and water, that's one category. Clothes, just to cover the body so we can be warm and free from glad flies and mosquitoes and things like that, and for modesty. And then shelter, because we can't just be outside in the cold and in the wind and in the rain. So we need a small shelter, and medicines. These are the four things. Yeah, these are our needs. Everything else falls under the category of wants. Yeah, so think about it for a moment. Why we need to work so hard? Yeah, for people. Just think about this. This comes up in the Maha Dukkha Kandopama Sutta. Yeah. So when we are little, we have to go to school. Why do we have to go to school? To get it, get a good education. We need a good education to get a good job. Why do we need a good job? To earn lots of money. And why do you need money? They say to be happy. So this is what our parents taught us, right? In order to be happy, you need to, have a good job. So learn and study well, pass your exams, and then you will be happy. Now, many people, and even everybody who's in the online here in the audience and in the room here as well, we've all done that. Are we happy yet? Yeah, we know the things that the money can buy are quite limited. Yeah, even yesterday we had a day retreat here at Santi. We had about, I don't know, maybe somewhere between 30 to 40 people here. And there was an Indian lady who's new to Buddhism. And she was talking and asking questions. She has a young daughter who's doing well. She's into medicine and quite beautiful, young girl and grown up here, born here. And she was telling how, the world, the young people, all they think is their happiness come from all of these things, like, seeking for pleasure in the sensual world, like going out to eat nice food and having a nice partner, going on holidays and, all of these things, dancing, singing, music, and all kinds of entertainment and even exciting sports. So people tend to look for happiness in these things and also buying things. Yeah, it's an incredible thing that happens. Also, people think that by shopping, buying things, that also you become happy. And also you think that if you get this, you'll be happy. You'll get that, you'll be happy. This perfect kind of shoe, you'll be happy. Perfect kind of jacket, you'll be happy. Perfect kind of food, you'll be happy, and it'll good for you. And there is no end to these things, right? So the money, even if you're a millionaire, sometimes not enough to get the things that you want. So these are very different to the needs. Needs are quite simple. And if you have these simple needs, a simple house to live, simple clothes, yeah, simple good food, and simple medicines, it's enough already, and you don't need to earn so much money for that. All of that extra work, extra hours of, doing things is all to get our wants. So think about it. And even when we get our wants, are we happy? We are not. Sometimes we save lots of money to go on a family holiday. And what happens sometimes? It ends up being a great disappointment. Yeah, it's not what you expected, or you all got sick, or you had an argument. These things happen. Yeah, even things you buy expecting some great performance, it doesn't happen. Even what we take as health food or whatever sometimes doesn't agree with another person. So we get fooled by the world and we seek for these things. We continue to search for these things. And in our pursuit of happiness, what we reap is a whole heap of suffering. And when I was speaking in this way, yeah, that the craving is a form of suffering, which is the second noble truth according to the Buddhism. This Indian lady said, but how are we going to tell our young kids about this, that craving brings happiness and craving brings suffering, and then it all sounds like, a pessimistic kind of world. What can we do? Because they know nothing apart from craving and getting things for happiness. So that is when I again reminded everybody about this happiness born from getting versus happiness born from giving. Yeah, because when we get things that we like, of course, there is gratification. Temporary lasts for a short while, like when we get our nice food or go on our holiday or listen to our favorite song or whatever it is, there is gratification. But it lasts only for a short time, but sometimes it comes with even a big check, yeah, paycheck. Because the thing is, all these things, let's say, like you saved money and bought this expensive sports car. But we know it does not take any time to meet with an accident and it becomes completely a wreck. And all that money, I mean, insurance will cover still, that car, it's gone. Let alone that, about the beautiful relationship. Yeah, this is what mostly people look for happiness. Happiness, the ultimate happiness they seek for is in a relationship. Think about for a moment what happens. Yeah, if the relationship goes really, really well. I mean, let's talk about the normal way. Yeah, normal ways relationships are really good at the beginning, but after a couple of years, it sort of starts to flatten out. And even for some people, it even, becomes difficult. This is quite normal in the world. Some people just put up with each other just because, and there is no love, there is no happiness, they just stay. Other people, they even divorce. Yeah. So that's one kind of relationship. But let's say if there was a really, really beautiful, amazing relationship, and we do see this from time to time, people going to their old age in a good relationship. But still, at the end, one has to die. You don't both die at the same time, right? So the separation comes. When the separation comes, even at death, then if it was a really nice relationship, the pain is incredible. Yeah, so in every direction, because all these things that are external, that we get through craving in our pursuit of happiness, they are impermanent in nature. They are going to depart, or at the very least, when you die, you have to be separated from everyone and everything. Yeah, are you ready for that? Yeah, this is the thing with external things. When we seek for happiness and we crave for things and we think that we need these things to support our life, then we have lived a very wasteful life, right? Working really hard, earning lots of money to get all of these things that doesn't really bring true happiness, everlasting happiness. Yeah. So the happiness is born in the opposite direction. It is not that there is no happiness, there is happiness to be had. And that is the happiness starting from giving. Yeah, rather than getting what you want to make happy, giving, sacrificing, yeah, serving. So, when you make somebody else happy, give something that you really have to somebody else who needs it. And the feeling of happiness, once you do that, that is renunciation, that is giving up, right? That is generosity. Happiness born from generosity is incredible. Yeah, so it's beautiful. and last a long time. And not only that, every time you remember, even if it is something really small, the time that you shared your lunch with somebody. Yeah, and it brings incredible happiness to your heart. But the time, if you remember having a really nice lunch, it was nice at the time, but now when you think about it, it doesn't bring much happiness. So this is the thing. So starting from opening up your heart from generosity, giving, is beautiful. And then virtue is a form of happiness, and meditation is a form of happiness. So this is where actually happiness is, not by getting things, not adjusting and arranging your life to have all of these things. And this is also sometimes happens in monastic life. So these suttas are often also for the monastics who have dedicated their whole life to the practice. And sometimes we do see, even at the time of the Buddha, but also now, like even the monastics seeking for things. Oh, I want a pure cotton robe, a plastic, a synthetic robe is too hot, or whatever, I need this kind of thing, or this kind of medicine, or this kind of food. Sure, if you have a health condition, it is okay to mention that and see whether you can get that support. And there is an allowance. Even at the time of the Buddha, of course, if there is a medical need, that is okay. But often it is not because of a medical need. Yeah, often because it'll make your life better. So people think, and also waste a lot of time thinking about this, worrying about these things, and wondering, how am I going to get these things? Yeah. So try to find good supporters, make friends with some of the supporters so that you can ask them to get what you want. All of these things happen. It's quite not nice. Yeah. It's not a nice way to live monastic life. Yeah. And but this happens. So this is why the Buddha says, being easy to support, yeah, is such a, and easily satisfied is a great relief. The moment you want things, if you want something different, it's such a mental pain. Yeah, that discontent is incredible form of suffering, even if it is something small. But when the moment you are satisfied, you're contented with what you have, this is good enough, this will do, this will be helpful for me to live another day, to practice. And then it's such a relief, the mind actually becomes still. Like even if you close your eyes for a little while, not to meditate, but just to watch, you can feel the pull of your mind. The mind gets pulled by various forms of craving, even craving for comfort, even craving to have a cup of tea, even the craving to have the right kind of temperature, put on the beanie or whatever, just constantly craving that takes us away from the present moment, adjusting our life, wanting to prepare for things. And this is when, people wait till I get this out of the way, and till I get that out of the way, and then I will meditate. This reminds me of a very funny story that Ajahn Brahm used to say. I haven't heard him say that in a long time, but there was a time that he would say this quite often at a retreat on the last day. And this is a story of a group of monkeys. So there was a group of monkeys living close by to a temple. And in Sri Lanka, you see this quite a lot. There are monkeys and near temples. And one of the monkeys was hanging around the temple and was listening to the Dhamma talk and got quite inspired about meditation. Yeah, so meditation is good. Meditation brings a lot of peace and joy and happiness. So he went and told his mates, everybody, we also should meditate because that's supposed to be quite good for us. And then the monk was telling that is what stops the monkey mind. He was telling bad things about monkeys, saying monkey mind is so busy going here and there. And but if we meditate, we can prove them, monkeys are also good. The monkey mind is not like that. We can meditate, we can show them, right? We should meditate. So everybody said, yes, yes, yes. All the monkeys said yes. So they decided, okay, let's meditate. Next full moon day, we are going to meditate. So they decided. So in the evening, like, no, in the morning or whatever time, afternoon maybe. So they decided, okay, let's meditate. So they all sat cross-legged, put their little arms on their laps and started meditating. 1 minute, not even 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds later, one of the monkeys put their hands up and, said like this and said, why don't we go and gather the bananas first? Because after the meditation, we got to eat, right? So let's gather the bananas first and then we'll meditate. Everybody said, yes, yes, that's a good idea. So they stopped meditation, went and raided the nearby banana plantation and got all the bananas. And they put it all in the middle, and then they started meditation. Again, another 30 seconds or so later, another monkey put their hand up and said, why don't we, peel all the bananas? We got to peel the bananas before we eat them, right? So all the monkeys said, yes, 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 we got to do that. Let's get that out of the way, and then we can meditate in peace. So they all peeled all the bananas and prepared them to eat. And then they started meditating. Again, another 30 seconds went by and another monkey put out, why don't we, put the bananas in our mouth? Because you got to eat them. Let's get that out of the way and then we can meditate. Yeah. So all the monkeys jumped at it. Yes, yes, we got to do that. So you get the point, yeah? This is the monkey mind, yeah? This is the monkey mind that we too have. So when we want to meditate, we also think, oh, let me clear my room first, the house first, cook first, do this first, do that first, and then I'll meditate. Yeah? So this is the thing, cravings, wanting, doing things. So you never become peaceful. This discontented mind constantly drag us away from the present moment. So that is why, development of this, being somebody who easy to support, is such a great benefit. Because even the Buddha says, like, seclusion is not somebody who just stays far away in a kuti in the forest. Yeah, that usually is supposed to be in seclusion. But if you are there, but you have so much craving in your mind, so much desires in your mind, then the Buddha says you're not living alone. You're living with the second person. This comes up in the Migajala Sutta, and you have this craving as your partner. So you are not living in seclusion, even you are in the middle of a jungle alone. And this is so true. Sometimes even with monastics, yeah, they are seen to be living in this kuti far, far away, doing nothing, coming out on retreat, but with so much craving, so much desires, yeah, thinking about how to get the next thing I need. In this kind of way, the discontentment takes you away from any meditation, any possibility to meditate. So that is why the Buddha says it's so very helpful, so very important to become somebody who is easy to support to. And I also want to read something, a small little verse from Sutta Nipata. From Sutta Nipata, the last sutta in the Atthakavagga called Sariputta's Questions. And it says, these four thoughts cause trouble. What shall I eat? Where shall I eat it? Last night was awful. Where shall I sleep? Tonight, where shall I sleep tonight? Someone who's practicing and living alone leaves these thoughts behind. He receives food and clothes when they are offered. He knows moderation, makes him content, and is careful with what he's received. Behaves modestly in the village. Even if people are rude, he replies kindly. Yeah, it's quite beautiful. This is just a little bit to show Buddha praising, somebody who is easy to support. And I want to also read a little bit more about craving. And this is from Nidana Sangyutta, Maha Nidana Sutta. So this is, I think, DN, which number is it? DN2 maybe. Anyway, Mahanidana Sutta, I have here Bhikkhu Bodhi's commentary on it called The Great Discourse on Causation. Quite a deep, deep kind of reading, but I'm going to just read a small section where the Buddha goes on and expands on the idea of craving. Like this is about dependent origination, and we know I'm not going to go into dependent origination right now, but one of the links is from about when you have contact comes craving, feeling, and from feeling comes craving. So here it goes. It was said, with feeling as condition, there is craving. How that is so, Anand, should be understood in this way. If there were absolutely and utterly no feeling of any kind anywhere, that is, no feeling born of eye contact, feeling born of ear contact, feeling born of nose contact, feeling born of tongue contact, feeling born of body contact, or feeling born of mind contact, then in the complete absence of feeling, with the cessation of feeling, would craving be discerned? And Venerable Ananda replies, certainly not, sir. He's very wise. Yeah, certainly not, Venerable sir. So then the Buddha says, therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, and condition for craving, namely feeling. And then there is a section on dependent on craving. Yeah, thus Ananda, in dependence upon feeling, there is craving. In dependence upon craving, there is pursuit. In dependence upon pursuit, there is gain. In dependence upon gain, there is decision making. In dependence upon decision making, there is desire and lust. In dependence of desire and lust, there is attachment. In dependence on attachment, there is possessiveness. In dependence on possessiveness, there is stinginess. In dependence upon stinginess, there is safeguarding. And because of safeguarding, various evil, unwholesome phenomena originate. The taking up of clubs and weapons, conflicts, quarrels, and disputes, insulting speech, slander, and falsehood. It was said, because of safeguarding, various evil, unwholesome phenomena originate. The taking up of clubs, weapons, conflicts, quarrels, and disputes, insulting speech, slander, and falsehood. How that is so, Anand, should be understood in this way. If there were absolutely and utterly no safeguarding of any kind of anywhere, then in the complete absence of safeguarding, with the cessation of safeguarding, would those various evil, unwholesome phenomena originate? Certainly not, Venerable Sir. Therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, and condition for those various evil, unwholesome phenomena, namely safeguarding. It was said, in dependence upon stinginess, there is safeguarding. How that is so, Ananda, should be understood in this way. If there were absolutely and utterly no stinginess of any kind anywhere, then in the complete absence of stinginess, with the cessation of stinginess, would safeguarding be discerned? Certainly not, Venerable Sir. Therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, and condition for safeguarding, namely stinginess. Then it was said, in dependence upon possessiveness, there is stinginess. And like that, it goes through that whole sequence. So you can see, starting from craving, how we end up into quarrels, disputes, and even wars. And this is true, isn't it? You can see, even unfortunately, even in monastic life, this can happen. This is my yeah, why did you use it up or whatever, like that? It can happen. This is my very expensive, special, whatever. These things happen both in lay life and also in monastic life, and how this and worrying about how to look after it, how to care for it, all of these problems starts to come up when we, and also that seeking, searching, trying to figure out how to get and what you need, all of that, how problematic it is. And it is even more troublesome these days with internet, right? You only have to put into Google and read all the reviews about these things, try to find out, and there's too many choices. Even that is a form of suffering, then to decide which one to buy, because so many choices. Recently, I had some supporters I was talking to. They were in such a difficult situation with difficult mind state, trying to decide which car to buy. They have come down to three choices, but even that three was so hard because this has this has that. So to try to compare the money, the comforts, all these qualities, so we very often make ourselves so miserable, let alone buying a car. Sometimes to buy a box of cereal too, which kind is good for me, which brand is good, all of these things. Life becomes so complicated because we try to control, and we try to think we can last forever if we have the right kind of things. But the thing is, you can eat all the healthy food you like, do all the exercises you need. I'm not saying not to do it. You can do it, but there is no guarantee that you would live to 120 years. Yeah. You could just fall down this afternoon, trip your foot, hit your head, and die. Yeah. So all of that waste of researching, all of that was what a waste of time that was. Yeah, that doesn't mean you don't care about things. Yes, you care in moderation. Yeah, not go out of your way into so much trouble, which we see. And this discontent is very disturbing, very, very disturbing to the stillness of the mind. Yeah. And this is not a small thing. In fact, if you think about it, a big form of disturbance come to our mind during meditation precisely because of this craving. Yeah, so craving is an important thing. So that is why the Buddha says, being somebody easy to support to is such a great benefit. Whatever kind of robe you receive, that's good enough just to cover your body, to be safe from all the insects and stuff, and to be modest and to stay warm. It's good enough. It doesn't have to be this brand and that kind and this variety. It's good enough. Whatever kind of food. Yeah, if your digestion is good, if you're able to digest without getting difficulty, then whatever you get is food. If you don't, there's still always something you can do, something very simple. Yeah, that is going to be good enough and manage. Medicine's the same. And what kind of hut, whatever kuti that you get to stay is good enough. It's just for the purpose of protection from weather and insects and glad flies and things like that. And that's good enough. This is this beautiful reflection that we have, that we chant on Uposatha days, and also we're supposed to reflect very frequently about the usage of these requisites, because these we need, these are our needs, but yet how not to be too attached and not to be too concerned even about our needs. So this is a part of that quality, Subarocha. Yeah, so that's that quality. Because today I'm going to go through a few qualities because they are related together. And the next quality is Appakicca. So not busy with duties. Now this is to be taken in a really good way. So it's moderation. It's a right amount, because some people take this the wrong way. Yeah, because, not busy with duties, they hear this and then they run away into the kuti and never do any work. But that is also not recommended by the Buddha. So it is to find and understand this very important quality in the right way. So not overly burdened with duties and only having few tasks with few responsibilities is what is meant here. And that depends on each person. So different individuals, this works differently, but that doesn't mean that you don't do work. You do work, but you don't get overwhelmed, or you don't overdo things. Because sometimes what happens uh, is that people just take up projects just because they're bored, maybe. Yeah, and then they just get carried away doing that day after day after day for a long time, and neglect seclusion, neglect their practice. So this is what the Buddha is saying, not busy with duties. But whatever you are asked of to support the monastic community, because we need to look after each other and look after the monastery and do some of our basic duties, because that is necessary. We can't just wait. We don't have servants here, yeah? No butlers, no things like that. We need to do that, to look after, and that is highly praised by the Buddha. Now, I was trying to look for a very beautiful set of verses that I have once come across, but today I didn't manage to find it. If I one day find it, I will read it out again on another occasion, but I remember the meaning of it. And the meaning was that when somebody does their duties, whatever they are asked of, it is called the vata, yeah, the duties of the monastery, duties of the monastic community. When they do that, and when they do that with a good heart, understanding the importance, with a kind and generous heart of helping and supporting oneself and the others. So it's a really good act of generosity, act of service that is part of that generosity. When you do it with that right attitude, you get incredible joy come up in the mind. The mind has what is called pamoja, or gladness, come up based on that service, doing it with the right attitude, doing it really well, not half-heartedly, not doing a bad job, but doing it really well. When you do it really well in that way with the right attitude, you have gladness in the mind. And that gladness is that incredible support for your meditation. Yeah, as we have learned before as well, the meditation psychology, which comes up in so many places in the Sutta Pitaka. And one of the places is Anguttara Nikaya Numerical Discourses, chapter 10, Sutta number 3, Chetana Karaniya Sutta. There also it comes up how gladness is the starting point of meditation. So up until that point, it is how you live your life, yeah, what you do. So that service, that generosity of the heart is an important aspect of bringing up gladness in your mind. And the rest of the meditation just happens as a matter of course. So when you have gladness born from your good heart, giving heart, generous heart, you have joy, yeah, and that energy, when you stay with it, the present moment is pleasant. But imagine at times if you're sitting down, whinging about things. Why do I have to do? Why do they have to do this? This is hopeless. This is not the way to do it. All of those things, and not happy, and complain about the duties. Then the mind has regrets, remorse, and negativity. And that kind of mind, you cannot meditate. Meditation does not take off. Yeah, because there is no happiness, there is no joy, and there is no energy in that mind. That kind of mind goes very quickly into depression, into down state. So this is why you can use the simple duties, simple work, the chores that you're asked of, to be a part of your practice. So that is what you do outside. And how you do it, you can do it very quietly, very mindfully, with a loving heart, with a caring heart, in a good way. Yeah. And then when you go to sit down for your meditation, you are in a really, you feel good also with the body as well. The body has moved. It also has released a bit of energy. It's not, it's done some work. It has good feeling. Good neurotransmitters have also come out as a result of doing a bit of work, especially if it was physical work, which is often what we have in monastic life most of the time. And then you feel really good, and you sit down with that beautiful mind. And present moment is pleasant. When the present moment is pleasant, you are able to stay there. Yeah, you are able to stay there. You don't need to run away because it's already pleasant. So as you just stay there, piti or rapture just comes about. You don't have to, as an act of will, invite priti to come or make it happen as a with will. Piti just comes up when you had gladness in your mind. And when the rapture or the piti comes up in your mind, then the body becomes tranquil. Yeah, this is when slowly the body starts to disappear. We often hear sometimes in meditation retreats, and these are often happens to people, good-hearted people, people who really contribute, who are generous in their nature. We very often hear in retreats they reach this state of tranquility of the body starts to disappear. Yeah, and when the body becomes tranquil, the mind becomes tranquil, and then it enters, this is called kaya passaddhi, and then it enters tranquility of the mind, which is experienced as sukha or happiness. And sukhino chitta samadhiyati, it's from that happiness that the mind enters into deep meditation. So based on service, based on act, yeah, you can really get into deep meditation. And if you are a disciple of Ajahn Brahm, you will hear this. Ajahn Brahm, even as a young monk, used to do all the work that he was asked of and do a really good job. When he built the entire monastery with his, most of the parts, not entire monastery, the meditation hall, ablution block, and things like that with his own hands. He was a bricklayer, yeah? And he still had good meditation. Why is that? Because of the way, the right attitude, the generosity of the heart. So service, yeah, you can, if you have the right attitude about service, it's incredible source of joy, and you can use that joy, that gladness to your benefit, to uplift and energize your meditation. So the right amount of work is very important. So how do you know whether it's a wrong amount of work? That is when you've done too much that you become so tired, you haven't been putting in enough time for meditation and seclusion, and then you're going backwards. And then you can see you start to get a bit irritated, you get agitated, your mind states are not great. That is when you know that you have been working overmuch. Sometimes this happens that there are periods that we may have to do work, or a day or two if there's a big event happening, but then you do that and then you take a few days off or some time off. So that is okay, it's balancing out. Yeah, so you can always ask for time to rest, time to adjust and come back up, and then you can work again. But in most of the time, you do it in moderation. Like in the monasteries, we only work for about 2 hours in the morning, just after breakfast and before lunch. There is a work period, 2 to 3 hours sometimes, or 2.5 hours, but not really complicated work, a bit of raking, weeding, cleaning the toilets, some small projects of, building something, helping out. And that's really nice because it's a support. It's a place and that supports many people. So when you see that and when you do that much, and that's it. After lunch, we go back and then we have all the rest of the day to meditate. So it's at balance. So of course, for the lay people, you need to work that out. It is a bit different because for us, the 4 requisites are provided. Yeah, so this is why. So this is mainly like that. But in your life too, see how you can, organize yourself so that you don't overdo things. So you can do things in an efficient way, and also find delegation. Yeah, because this is the thing. Sometimes people, they say they delegate and they try to micromanage. Yeah, so there is no delegation and you're still stressed and worried and you don't have rest. So you need to be able to, do that delegation. Let others do. It's good enough. Yeah, and trust other people to do the job, and that would be okay. Yeah, like that. So you find delegation and ways of doing to minimize your work. So it's not like you don't do, you do, but you don't overdo, and find ways to get help. So this is a little bit of the trick in with the doing the practice in lay life. But still, for many people, you can organize yourself in such a way. Have Uber Eats couple of times a week so you can, have a bit of rest. Give business to the local businesses, if you can afford it. Just a suggestion, just saying, or, get yourself a cleaner once a week if you can afford it. So, you can balance out the things that you need to do and things that, because you spend and waste money on so many other things. Instead, give a livelihood for somebody who gets a job and you also get some time. It's an incredible thing. Actually, one of our friends told that what saved their marriage life was the smart move of hiring a cleaner at the very early stages. Soon after they got married, they moved to Australia and started work. And they decided, it's better to get a cleaner than have all these arguments. I did the dishes yesterday, it's your turn to do the dishes. Or I vacuumed the house last week, it's your turn, and all these arguments and feeling tired. It's much better if you can, because you waste money anyway. So simple things like that, you can still reduce the amount of work in your life and also have time for seclusion, to rest, because this is so important. I always very often mention this, like the 4 foundations for cultivating all the 37 factors for enlightenment, for developing all of the enlightenment factors that supports for enlightenment are based on 4 foundations. And the first one is Viveka-Nissita. Viveka. Viveka is seclusion, but it is also that rest. So being free of duties, having that time is very important. So this is finding that balance. It's not going to the other extreme and saying, I don't want to do anything. I want to become a monastic and hide in my kuti and meditate all day, all night. And that's what I'm supposed to do. Not at all. The Buddha didn't say that. Buddha didn't say that. It's finding the balance, even in monastic life. We do need to contribute. And in fact, that contribution is a great support, but it is finding the balance and having the right attitude towards this is very important. So I think I have a couple of suttas to read out on this, because this is quite an important one. So let's see, 589. This is in the Anguttara Nikaya, that is Numerical Discourses, chapter 5. I'm going to read out Sutta 89. It's called Trainee. It's the first sutta on trainees. It says, Bhikkhus, these 5 qualities lead to the decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. What 5? Delight in work, delight in talk, delight in sleep, and delight in company. And he does not review the extent to which his mind is liberated. These 5 qualities lead to the decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. So, and then the opposite, the Buddha says, bhikkhus, these 5 qualities lead to the non-decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. What 5? Non-delight in work, non-delight in talk, not delighting in sleep, not delighting in company, and he reviews the extent to which his mind is liberated. These 5 qualities lead to the non-decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. So it's the delighting in work and doing overmuch. These are the personal projects, right? It would be good to do this and good to do that. And you can see, if you come and live in a monastic community, what happens. People get busy doing things they like. Sometimes not necessary, but this is just a delight. Sometimes it also comes from our sense of self, a sense of ego, want to perform, want to do things just to get praise, get to all of these things. They are very subtle, but they come and then you get carried away, because you delight in that. So that is when decline is happening. So there's another sutta, that's the next one, Anguttara 5, sutta number 90, again the second sutta on training. So let me read that. Bhikkhus, these 5 things lead to the decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. What 5? Here, a bhikkhu who is a trainee has many tasks and duties and is competent in various chores that must be done. So he neglects seclusion and does not devote himself to internal serenity of mind. This is the first thing that leads to the decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. So it's clearly again what I just mentioned. So they neglect seclusion. That is the problem here. Being competent is not a problem at all. I'll read another sutta where the Buddha actually praised that. But it is that neglecting the seclusion and not devoting himself or herself to meditation is the problem. Again, a bhikkhu who is a trainee spends the day on some trifling work. So he neglects seclusion and does not devote himself to internal serenity of mind. This is the second thing that leads. So sometimes it's something very trifling that they spend the whole day trying to figure out and fix. You would laugh at things because this even also happens in monastic life, not only in lay life. You know how you could spend a whole afternoon trying to figure out how to do something really trivial that is not even important. You'd rather get a professional to do and pay. Yeah, so anyway, again, a bhikkhu who is a trainee bonds closely with householders and monastics, socializing in an unfitting manner typical of lay people. So he neglects seclusion and does not devote himself to internal serenity of mind. This is the third thing that leads to the decline of a bhikkhu who is in training. So yeah, that's socializing. And sometimes where it's coming from, why are you making friends? And it's related to the other thing, yeah, to get what you want. Because once you become friends with people, they ask, how can I support you? What do you need, Venerable? And then you can tell, I need this, this, and that. So these are, very dangerous things. So as lay people, also please be aware, yeah, about your interaction, how to support a monastic in the right way, not towards the decline, yeah, towards, and know the limit also, yeah, not overly much, not take too much of their time unnecessarily, because they can also get carried away. So you can help by doing the right thing yourself. So the fourth thing, again, a bhikkhu who is a trainee enters a village too early and returns too late in the day. So he neglects seclusion and does not devote himself to internal serenity of mind. This is the fourth thing that leads to the decline of a bhikkhu who is a trainee. And the fifth one is again a bhikkhu who is a trainee does not get to hear at will, without trouble or difficulty, talk concerned with the austere life that is conducive to opening up the heart. That is, talk on fewness of desires, on contentment, on solitude, on not getting bound up with others, on arousing energy, on virtuous behavior, on concentration or stillness, on wisdom, on liberation, on the knowledges and vision of liberation. So he neglects seclusion and does not devote himself to internal serenity of mind. This is the fifth thing that leads to the decline of a bhikkhu who is in training. This last factor is a whole series of Dhamma talks, and I wish this is called the 8 Thoughts of a Great Man. Comes up with the Anuruddha Sangyutta, quite beautiful series of things that leads to non-decline, into progress. So I won't go into detail here, but we will one day during the sutta classes take up all those beautiful qualities, but I will read it again just as a reminder, yeah? So this is just not even hearing. These are also called dasakata, yeah? There is refraining from speech, that idle chatter, and there is also, it doesn't mean that you don't talk at all. Yeah, so there are 32 topics that the Buddha says not to talk. And they include things like talk about the kings, talk about the movie stars, talk about the weather, talk about all of those things, talk at the well, that kind of, gossip and unnecessary chatter, which is what we most of the time do. But instead, the Buddha says, if people get together, there are 10 topics that you need to speak about. So there is wholesome talk, Dasakatha, it is called, 10 subjects. And the decline happens when somebody does not get to hear these 10 topics being spoken of. So that is why it is quite important for the practice. And this is what it is. Again, I'll read it. Talk concerned with austere life that is conducive to opening up the heart. That is, talk on fewness of desires, appichakata, contentment, santuttikata, solitude, pavivekakata, on not getting bound up with others, sansargakata, arousing energy, viryarambhakata, on virtue, silakata, on concentration, or samadhikata, on wisdom, panyakata, on liberation, vimuttikata, and knowledge and vision on liberation, vimutti jnana dasanakata. So, when people get together, like we do right now, like a Dhamma discussion or a sutta class, these are the things that we need to talk, and that is help for progress on the path and on decline. Anyway, so there's quite a number of interesting suttas. But now I also want to say, so that was about delighting in work, delighting in talk, delighting in socializing, all of those things as part of how a decline can happen. But the right amount of work is also a great support. So I'm going to read that as well, so to balance things out. And that is still from Anguttara Nikaya, book of 10, chapter 10, sutta number 17. So in this sutta, the Buddha says, I will not read the whole sutta, I'll only read about the section that's relevant, but I'll read the beginning. Bhikkhus, live under a protector, not without a protector. One without a protector lives in suffering. There are these 10 qualities that serve as a protector. What 10? So the protector means that sometimes, very often, we feel that we are doing our practice, but we don't have a teacher. Yeah, we don't have the right kind of support, right kind of protection, guidance in order to do our path. But sometimes it's difficult, especially as nuns. It's really difficult to find good teachers around and monasteries with strong teachers. It's because we are still young. We've just started the whole thing again, because for a whole millennium in the Theravada Buddhist tradition, the nuns, the fully ordained nuns, have disappeared from the world and only started about 2 decades ago. So the nuns are still young and they are only far few and far apart. So because of that, there is a lack, there is a difficulty. But still, we can't just complain and say, oh, we don't have good teachers. I mean, of course, we have the support of the monks, but it's still limited. Yeah, Ajahn Brahm, Ajahn Brahmani, these are our teachers for our monasteries. They are also quite busy. They have a lot on and they have to look after their monks. So, and access to them is also limited. But that doesn't mean that we feel like an orphan. We don't have any support. So the Buddha says there are 10 qualities that you can develop. And when you have these 10 qualities, that is like you have a protector. Yeah. So even though you don't have a person as a protector, sometimes you can still have these qualities. So, So I'm only going to read out the part that is relevant to our Apicca Katha, which is duties, because this is a protector. The Buddha says that this is a support. This is a good thing to support your monastic life. And it says, again, a bhikkhu is skillful and diligent in attending to the diverse chores that are to be done for the fellow monks. He possesses sound judgment about them in order to carry out and arrange them properly. Since a bhikkhu is skilled and diligent, this too is a quality that serves as a protector. So again, the right way to decide what's the right amount, how is it to be done, and how much, and how do you find the balance? So this is also important. And elsewhere in the suttas, which I again didn't manage to find the reference this morning, also says when you start monastic life and live in a monastic community, how starting from doing the duties leads to full enlightenment. A beautiful sequence. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the sutta, so I'm not going to make an attempt saying it in memory because it has been a while since I read that sutta, so I don't want to misrepresent the teaching, but there is a teaching starting from doing the duties well and then listening. When you do your duties and you have kind of faith and confidence, and how you listen to the teachings and how that eventually gets you enlightened. So doing the duties in the right way is really important and is very helpful. And the last thing I'm going to say about duties is coming from Kosambya Sutta. Again, I can't remember the sutta number. It's in the Majjhima Nikaya, easy to find. In the Kosambya Sutta, there is a beautiful simile given by the Buddha. Like it is related to finding out whether you are a stream winner or not. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all the details, but this is a quality of a stream winner, somebody who has reached the first stage of enlightenment. And one of the qualities is that they do not neglect their duties. In fact, they do their duties 100%. They do a really, really good job, not a half-hearted job. They do their work, whatever they're asked of, really well, to the very best, to the very highest quality. But yet they also do not neglect the practice because they are still at this stage 1, right? It's a big step, but still not fully enlightened. So of course they don't get carried away. They still do their practice. And the simile is like this. It is like a cow who has a calf. And because the cow has a calf, the cow doesn't, so the cow is the stream winner, yeah? And the calf is your job or duties and things like that, your responsibilities. So the cow doesn't spend the whole day licking the calf, feeding the calf, looking after the calf, and neglect her own practice. Her own practice is eating the grass and looking after the cow. Yeah, so that is in the simile. So and then again, the cow also doesn't just only eat grass and completely neglects the calf. The calf would die then, right? And you can't do that either. So how a very smart cow does this is it eats grass, turning to the direction where the calf is. So keep an eye on the calf and keep eating grass. But when it sees that the calf needs some attention, needs some food, some care, goes and gives that. And when the calf satisfied, full, and then goes back and continues to eat the grass. Quite a beautiful simile because, if you only care for the work to the calf, and if you don't take care of yourself, you will end. I was having this reflection when I was doing the building project. I remember that was an incredible time of work. It was like overworking time, a period of time I was doing that with the mind that I will take rest later. So for about 3 years, actually more than that, 4.5 years it went on. But at least for about 2 years in that, the really intense period, my minimum work hours was 12. Sometimes 15, sometimes even 17 hours non-stop, going from meetings to, a few hundred emails to, going into shops to talking, all of these things. But, at that time, I still remembered this. I remembered, but if I overdo myself and if I decline, if I go out of monastic life, or if I become really, really sick, then the project is gone anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, somebody else will do it. So, you can't say that you have this responsibility and just only focus on that and not take care about this. And this is a very relevant information for everybody, especially the mothers and fathers. Sometimes you neglect yourself, caring for yourself, your own well being, and focus fully on your responsibilities and duties. And you sometimes stretch yourself overly much. And this is not helpful. So, if you want to care for others, do your responsibilities well. Taking care of yourself is really important. So, during building project, even though I had I had to do these things because things keep going, I did take little breaks, and whenever I needed to rest, I did rest, and I then come up and continue to do. But of course, at the end of the big project, I took about 6 years time, 6 years off. So to have much more retreat time. In that time, I did the basic duties like mopping the floors and washing tea towels, kind of very simple tasks that are in the monastic life generally. I did those, and I also had like some periods of seclusion completely on retreat. So I balanced it out. But what I'm saying is that it's finding out what is right for you and what brings joy. So for me, while I was doing the work, there were many times that were really inspiring. So those inspiring times, even though the body was tired, even the mind was tired, but that inspiration comes, the tiredness goes, and you could meditate. Surprisingly, at the most unexpected times of a busy building project, one could have meditation, good meditation too. So it depends, but this is just to say that this is the two qualities. So it is now 9:36. So I've been talking nonstop for quite a long time. So I would like to open up for any questions, discussions, and things like that. So please, you can open. You can either write questions on the chat or you can unmute and ask.
Thanks for today's sermon and the discussion.
Yeah.
This is my first time joining online. I have been listening to others when I get time because Thursday afternoon I normally don't have time and then don't get the chance. But those Thursday discussions I'm generally listening later. And thanks for today's discussion. I have not. This is not related to what we discussed today, but then when doing meditation, breathing exercises,
Mm-hmm.
I try to do breathing exercise, and then uh, it's like this diaphragm contraction and expansion. Those things I don't feel. Does that mean breathing exercise is not for me, or should I do more concentration and focusing?
Okay, so this is actually quite an important question. The thing is, it's when is the right time to do breath meditation, right? So the breath meditation is so like popular, and there's so many
Mm,
techniques being taught. But,
mm,
this is the problem that one gets into when we try to do meditation. We try to put in a lot of concentration, try to put in an effort in this way. It is only very limited. Yeah. So, breath meditation requires a large degree of mindfulness. So, that is why it is really
mm,
important to make the foundations, right? So, you can do other practices first. In fact, for many people are not
mm,
quite ready to do breath meditation properly. Yeah, because the
mm,
mindfulness is slow. This is why when we sit to meditate, the mind just forgets the meditation objects. That's because the mindfulness is
mm,
No, and it just runs to present, sorry, past and future, which is its habit. So that is why it is important to bring up other practices. So often it's quite nice to do for a period of time body scanning. So instead of,
mm,
and because it's quite a gross kind of like it's a more tangible kind of object, so you can once
mm,
sit down and relax and becoming a bit more calm. After that, you can just in your mind's eye go through the feelings, starting from your feet, starting from your toes, see how you feel. So establishing mindfulness in the body and being curious and feeling the sensations and relaxing the body. So gently and
mm,
slowly, you can come through your feet and up your calves to the knees, to the thighs, to the back. Like that, you come all the way up, all the way to the head. And you can
mm,
do this up and down.
mhm,
And this is still a bit, it makes you still, but it also establish mindfulness because you are now focused on one thing in the sense like in the body but
mhm,
moving, so it's it's not too hard. And
mm,
once you do this a few times, sometimes the mind settles down and has enough mindfulness
mhm,
and the breath comes to you. So this is how, if you have ever listened to the guided meditations, the way I do it, or even Ajahn
mm,
Brahm, is like
mm,
you don't go and grab the breath. Instead, you
mhm,
wait until the natural flow of the breath becomes obvious to you. It comes to you.
mhm,
That is the right time that you are a passive observer of the breath. And if it doesn't come to
mm,
you, never mind. Yeah, sometimes you need a retreat, you need a lot of practice before that comes. So in the meantime, you can use something like body scanning, or you can also use something like metta meditation, something to
mhm,
relax, bring up a bit more joy, and then
mhm,
into the breath. So that's it's important, but not to really force and try to concentrate in a tight way. This is when people end up with headaches, and all
mm,
kinds of problems as well. I mean, recently I've got quite a few people come up to me and say these things, and straight away realize they were just using all these techniques without putting down the foundations. Yeah, so meditation,
mhm,
samma samadhi, is to be developed based on the other seven factors. Yeah, so and it's a gradual build up, not quickly. So having the right understanding will help you. Is that helpful, Chamila?
Yes, yes, it is. It is.
Okay,
And
are you
I will
still
try to do more body scanning too.
okay?
Thank you. One more question
Yeah,
regarding the duties. If that is not the monastic duties, if it is like day-to-day duties that we have, can
yeah.
we still put it into the same practice as you
Ah,
explained?
yes, this is the thing. This is what I sometimes say. I forgot to say today is that instead of having the attitude that I have to do this, say that
Mm,
I want to do this. Yeah, makes a
mm,
big difference because then it becomes like a generosity. It's like, why do I have to?
mm,
Why do I have to clean? Why do I have to look after the children? Why do I have to do all of these things? Then it comes from a negative place, and why others can't do, why do I have to do it like this? When it's like that, then
mm.
it's going completely against, and you still have to do it. But if you, these are things that you
Yeah.
to do either as a wife or a mother or as a daughter or as a worker, whatever it is, these are things that you need to do, right? And then instead, you build up this attitude, I want to do it. Why? Because I see the benefit. And then I want to do it the way that is expected. If there's a protocol, I'll follow it. It may not be, maybe
Mm,
I know better ways to do it. I can discuss. But if the people don't want me to do it, I'm happy to do it the way that I've been asked to do it. So that kind of attitude
mhm,
of letting go of your own ego and do it in a way that is asked for, how it's asked for, because this is another problem. Yeah, sometimes if you are a team leader, and it's really hard because sometimes the people, they all have ideas and they all want to do it, and there's big arguments and very difficult. But when you have a team who's very happy to listen to you and do it, then you get it done. There's never the best way. Each person, their way is the best way. But you know, there's only so much we can do. But when you become somebody who asks, how would you like me to do this? How would you like it happen? Just do it simple. You don't have to think too much. You just do it and be done with. It's easy. It's the thinking, fighting against it, and worrying about it, and also trying to be a perfectionist. Yeah, do a perfect job. There's no such thing. So that is where we can go. So then that right attitude, then actually even in your daily mundane tasks, you can still make it a support for your meditation when you come home, if you do it in the right way. Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Sadhu.
Another thing about these qualities, the appakicca quality, for example, the comes up in the sutta. I can't again remember the sutta reference. Is that the Buddha says, if you are somebody who has fewness of wishes, who has few duties, if you have these qualities, but if you go around and tell others, oh, I am like this, I am like that, then you are no longer somebody with that quality. Like especially it comes up with this appakicca. Yeah, the description of appakicca elsewhere, given if I manage to find it next week, I will read it out. It's like that. Like the moment you say, oh, I'm so frugal, I am, like I'm easy to support too, I have very few things. Then, because when you sort of go out and tell, then it builds up to your ego. Yeah, it's not great either. So it's just for yourself only, not to sort of go and make it obvious. You do it quietly. Yeah, this is the way to do. A picture is also described in that way. So I wanted to mention that as well. So we are nearly done, but this other quality is also very, very close to uh, the two qualities that we spoke about, but maybe I will leave it to the next week, and maybe we can read some nice, beautiful verses about a frugal life, maybe because it is about being frugal. But anyway, I think I should just stop here for today, unless there's more questions. Okay, there's a few things on the chat. Let's see what that is. Dushi says, I learned to balance my responsibilities, which gives me time to practice. Well done. Thanks for your advice. You're welcome. I refused to being HOD as I wanted to do what I like at work, then getting irritated, managing colleagues, and disturbing my peace of mind. Very smart. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we need to know what's helpful, and for each one of us, what is good. So, yeah, so yeah, well done. If that's what you want. So, yeah. So everybody is different. So in my case, I have taken up a very responsible job. But for me, it actually is conducive for my practice, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. For somebody else, the job that I have taken up, being the in the administrative or leadership role at Santi, can be quite stressful, draining, and going backwards for their monastic life. So we have to know. But then somebody's got to do this as well. But if it is in your character to use your duties, your responsibilities, and how you do it is a benefit, a joy, a source of joy, then that's okay. So for me to manage people, do things, somehow I'm able to do it without destroying myself. So I am able to do it. But anytime it becomes too much, I can always step down and give somebody else to do it. So it's knowing when you can do it, and also being ready to step away and step down when it is no longer a support for you. This is very important. So yeah, thanks for sharing, Dushi, about not taking up head of the department job in your line. So yeah, thanks.
Question.
Yeah.
From your experience,
Mm.
what you just described, the difficult withdrawal, because are you reflecting on that from time to time to see if it takes you
Yes,
up or down?
pretty much every day. So Carolina, who is here from Poland at the monastery, who's in the room, was asking the question whether when I'm doing all this responsible work or whatever, lots of work, whether I'm reflecting, whether I'm going upwards or downwards. And I said, yes, I actually pretty much do it every day. Every day, yeah. Not only every day, often, many times in the day. Many times in the day, it has become quite a natural thing. That is why I think it's a character maybe from past lives. Maybe that habit is there. So I always constantly check how am I? How is my body? How is my mind? That's why you sometimes see me disappear. And that is when I realized, okay, I need a bit of time. This is not the time to do this. So I reflect and I see that my physical and mental energy is not quite right to be doing this. If I try to do this now, I'll be pushing myself and then that will have consequences. So rather this time, I need to have a break, go meditate or lie down or do something else. And then when the right kind of energy and mental states come up, that's when I do it. So I actually work efficiently. So even if I have to write something, I don't do it straight away. I don't have that way of I have to do it and get it out of the way. I used to be like that, and I realized that's not the best way to do things. You waste so much time doing like that. So I put it aside and I sort of allow myself to build up inspiration, build up the right kind of energy, mental and physical, and then work myself up towards it. And there comes a point I realize, now I'm ready to write this boring thing. Or sometimes it's a constitution or something like that. So then I do it. Yeah. So sometimes, I mean, recently there was like 250 emails unread in my work email. I mean, I always look, I attend for the main priorities, but there's still second, third, fourth category priorities, so they get accumulated. So I know my limit. I just arrange like that. But how I injured my hand was I got a bit carried away. So I learned because I was just dealing with all of those because I had the mental energy and wanting to go through these non-priority emails and clean up my inbox. It was also getting full, but it was the movement of the mouse to delete, which I made a mistake of not paying too much attention, and I have strained one of my tendons, irritated one of my tendon on the thumb. But that happens sometimes, and then you stop. And then you just recover, and then you realize, okay, no, not going to do that again. Yeah, but reviewing is very important. We read here about reviewing is important, otherwise decline happens. So, it's not about not talking. I mean, we have to sometimes socialize, in the sense, talk the right amount, go and do the things, all of that. But in the right amount is when you review. No, okay, this now, enough of the party, have to get up and leave. It doesn't mean that you never come out for tea and never talk with the people, because there is a benefit. Like even in the monastery, sometimes to come out to tea and sit with the lay people who are here and share a few jokes and talk and relax. And this is important. But it's knowing when is the right time to end it. So that review, even while we are doing it, is very important. So this is how I manage. So then if I have a wrong attitude, which I can catch myself, something that I don't really like to do or want to do, like accounts, sometimes which I have to do, then I see, okay, well, I have to still do it. So then I make it fun, or I have breaks or whatever. So yeah, not all the kinds of work is helpful, but vast majority is good. But there are few that are not great, but then you just sort of pace it out with fun things in between. Yeah. Yeah. I like to work with a mind that is energized. So somehow I make whatever it is to do it in that way. So then it is a benefit rather than and if it is really hard, then I don't, and I ask for help. Yeah. If you ask me to go and deal with the generators and mechanical things in the workshop, Not going to happen. So call Venerable Upeka, who delights, not delights, who's able to do it without difficulty. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for joining. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Thank you and take care, everyone. Okay, bye. In these sessions, we did share the merits, didn't we? So we do the sharing of merits, and I shall do it in English. So I have it here with me. So through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless through the goodness that arises from my practice and through this act of sharing. May all desires and attachments quickly cease and all harmful states of mind until I realize Nibbana in every kind of birth. May I have an upright mind with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold, nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. Unsurpassed is the protection of the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is my noble Lord. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all this, may darkness and delusion be dispelled.